Hello, everyone. Welcome. Wherever you are, whoever you are, this should get to you. Stay with us as we talk about a man. The man, Olu Aibinuomo, is here with us this very day. And as you listen to us, I just know that something will click in there that will be a blessing for you. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
It's been a pleasure knowing you. It's been a delight working with you. So today, we would like to know more about you. You're popularly known as Reverend Dr. Olu Aibinuomo, but I did try just now in pronouncing your full names, Olu Aibinuomo. The man, Timothy Aibinuomo. Sir, who are you?
Thank you very much, Reverend Stevenson. I'm a child of God, born into a Christian family, a Baptist pastor's family, some 57 years ago. I was born at the seminary in Ogumosho, of course, at the Baptist hospital in Ogumosho, while my parents were undergoing their seminary training at the Nigerian Baptist Seminary of Ogumosho. Before I was born, there was the asking from the Lord that a male child should come. And if the male child will come, he will serve the Lord. So I was born a man, so there was jubilation in the family. And I was given the name Timothy on my 8th day. And a few days after that, my parents graduated. And I've lived all my life in the pastoral, in the church environment. I went to Baptist primary school, and then went to secondary school, and at a point in time went to University of Nigeria, Nsukka. I really wanted to read, and of course had my tertiary degree, and possibly do better than my father financially, economically. But along the line, I knew that I had to be a pastor. At a point in time at the university in Nsukka, I had to leave this university. On my own, went to Seminary of Ogumosho, obtained the form, had the examination, passed, and then I was trained for 4 years. And by the grace of God, I've been in the ministry of Nigerian Baptist Convention, specifically at St. Baptist Church, for 31 years.
31 years.
I was there as associate pastor to my father in the Lord, Reverend B. Hato, for 11 years. And then some 20 years ago, I became the senior pastor of the church. I've been there, I've been married to a beautiful wife, pastor's wife, a beautiful woman, Dr. Mrs. Mudupe Aibinuomo. And the Lord has blessed us with the godly children to the glory of God. Amen. Thank you.
You're welcome, sir. You just made mention of something. You said you are a pastor, the senior pastor at Central Baptist Church, Benin City, of the Nigerian Baptist Convention. And your father was a pastor, or do I say is a pastor?
Was a pastor.
Was a pastor. 2 days ago, during our devotion in the house, I'm a pastor. And I asked my son, discussion led, and asked my son, would you want to be a pastor? The boy laughed and looked at me from the corner. I said, Daddy, no. So how did you end up becoming a pastor? From seeing your father as a pastor, and I know those days it wasn't easy. So how did that happen?
I must tell you, to be frank and sincere, I was raised up. I love church. I love, a little child growing up would think that the whole world is all about church and its environment.
Yes.
And actually, I wanted to be a pastor. But at the point when I was finishing my secondary school, and I discovered the economic hardship in the house, I changed my mind that I will not be a pastor. But before that, I had not had a specific call, only that I love to just be like my father and all that. But then I turned it around. I said, I won't be a pastor. I will not. I'm not going to be a pastor because all my secondary schools days, even to seminary days, my parents paid my school fees, but they paid it instrumentally. So the money was not there. I remember a time I was going to enter secondary school with my immediate senior sister. The money was not there. So my sister was going to wait for me to go in. So coming from that environment, I just knew that to be a pastor, to be poor. And I wanted to just turn around the economic situation in the family. So, but while I was preparing to go to the university, I had a strong revelation. And that was what compelled me. So, why I'm a pastor is not because I decided to be, but that compelled me. I remember that I was teaching in the secondary school at Okemese in the Ekiti State. And that afternoon,
You were teaching.
I was a teacher.
Oh,
because I went to teacher school for 1 year, so I was teaching.
Okay.
So I saw myself in the dream in the afternoon, standing before a large crowd, and I was talking with some passion and conviction, and I woke up. A friend of mine who is number 2 surveyor in the rank in Lagos State now was with me. I went to that one, was in the sitting room of my apartment, and I said, see the dream I had. And Dele said, you like politics, maybe it's a political gathering, you are not talking. I said, but it doesn't look like so I went back to sleep. But that same afternoon, I had another dream. This time around, I saw myself kneeling down and people were laying hands on me.
Oh.
I know what? My father was among them. So I woke up and I went to Dele. I said, Dele, can you imagine what I saw again? I said, this one looks like ordination. My father was there. Dele said, I don't understand this one at all. But you know what? When I had my ordination in 1996, my father was there.
Wow.
Among those who laid hands on my head. So it is revelation, and God really backed it up. But let me say this. I told God when I had to surrender, I said, God, if I have to be a pastor, I don't want to be poor. I don't want to pay instrumental fees for my children in school. And I also saw the struggle of Baptistic way of managing pastor. In those days, when they would finish what they call business meeting, not church conference, and my parents will come home, they will sit outside. They will sit outside the house till 12. That night we don't eat. They are reviewing all the hardwares and all statements of members and all that. So I said, God, I don't want this. Then I'm not asking for big money, I don't want to be poor. And God assured me that He will take care of me. My father died not building a house. He didn't build any house. But I asked God, it must be different. So I think I'm having a compensational ministry. Okay. Because the Lord decided to compensate me. Knowing that my father, suffered all through. And then God decided to just favor. Wow. I remember that church where I pastored. He needed to buy a B2 car. It was 2,000 naira, 60,000 naira. And in those days, churches were buying cars for their pastors. But my father had to pay the money back. And when my father would pay at the end of the month, the remaining money we tie it on to show that the money cannot feed us. And the Lord decided to take up my mother and do many things to take care of us. So I give thanks to God that I'm in the ministry.
3 questions very quickly before we go down to details. 3 questions. So, you got a revelation and then you went into the ministry. Were you born again before then? Or was the revelation that brought about your being born? Or are you born again even till now?
It's a very good question. I gave my life to Christ at the age of 10.
Whoa.
At the age of 10.
Conscious,
deliberate. I remember how I gave my life to Christ. There was a revival at the church. And the man came from Lekoja. The name of the man is
Sorry, sir.
Yes.
Not just because you grew up in a pastor's house.
No,
You're not
I'll
a Christian
tell you
because you grew up in a pastor's house.
No, growing up in a pastor's house give you, a godly environment.
Yes.
All right, give you a godly environment to know about God. And unlike somebody who is not there, you have had devotion every morning, every evening, but consciously doing revival, in 1975. I remember this man came from Lokoja, Reverend J.I. Yakubu.
You can still recall his name.
Yes, sir. I can remember. It was a revival meeting, and he spoke so clearly. I was saying, in this service, you might think that you have been in this church and you know all about church, but you have not consciously give your life to Christ by yourself. Do it now, come out now. I came out as young as I was that day. Already, at that time, something already reciting so many things, but I just knew that I needed to give my life, and I did it. And then a few months after that, my father baptized me, by water. So I remember very clearly.
So you were born again.
Oh, by the grace of God. I'm heavenly right.
Because there are many people out there who may be listening to us right now, who have been in church all their lives, but have not made a conscious, deliberate surrender to Christ. So are they born again?
They are not, and we continue to sing the song and make it loud all the time. That until you have deliberately confessed Christ as your personal Lord and Savior, you are not there. Because Christ knows his own, and his own, they know him. So there must be a birthday of your salvation.
Birthday
of your salvation.
And you will know it.
And you must know it. Because from that day, things start changing. Even when you miss it a little bit, you know that you have missed the mark, and then you want to come back to it.
Okay. Then the second one is this. Have you regretted becoming a pastor?
This is what I was born to be. And I give thanks to God that as early as possible, I recognized it. And I didn't have to go far before coming to it.
So if given an opportunity again, for example, let's say there's opportunity again for you to restart your life, you will still follow this path of being a pastor?
There is no other way, no other options. I got to seminary at the age of 21, and that time you can only enter seminary at the age of 21. I think now it has been reduced to 18. So I think the best thing that can ever happen to anybody is to serve God. I'm happy I'm serving God on a full-time basis.
Amen. Amen. I pray many people are hearing this. We've actually talked, as we were talking about your background, but how your family, your siblings, how many were you?
We are 6.
6.
We are 4 boys and 2 girls.
How many pastors from there now?
Coincidentally, I think we have 3 pastors.
3 pastors?
Yes. The 2 girls married differently from 2 states, but married the same name, right?
Okay.
So it's the same name they bear. The one who is before me is a girl. The one after me immediately is a girl.
Okay.
So the 3 of us, we are pastors. So
wow. Okay. So I wanted to say there, blessed are thou amongst women. Oh, that's wonderful. That's what we bless God for this. And then, what would you say in your time in the ministry? Do you have some high points you can look back to and say, these were your most fulfilling moments in ministry?
Yes. In fact, one can mention so many. But there's one that I continue to thank God for. And I appreciate God for taking me to that moment. And that moment happened 9 years ago. Just 9 years ago, each time I look back, how I wish that I had this high mark point, maybe some 25 years ago. And that was when the Lord gave me a revelation of what the church is meant to be, to do, and to achieve. From that moment when I entered into it, I believe that God has done it for me. So nothing in the past, nothing in the past ministry can be compared to what happened 9 years ago. Because it was unusual, it was unprecedented, it was uncommon, it was not natural. When the Lord revealed to me, at the point when we were trying to dedicate the church building, we were reconstructing, and everything was beautiful, befitting the K Square that the governor had just beautified. And as that thing was finishing, God told me two things. God said, my son, you tried. This has beautiful. He said, but I will build for you. He said, I will build for you. And all the features you use in building this house, I will provide for you. All right? And that year, the Lord started helping me to build my house. And then secondly, God said, all the money that you have raised, we never have fundraising at any point in time. You have raised in making this structure beautiful for me. You will raise it again and again and use it for evangelism and spreading my kingdom. So, when the revelation came, I shared with many people. I remember I had an opportunity to lead the Mrs. conference maybe about a year after or 2 years after that should be 2008, the vision came. 2009, I think I preached there. And I even mentioned it publicly. I remember mentioning it even in the church. But nobody even got it. Even me myself, I did not understand how it was going to be. But by 2013, precisely, it came obviously, clearly, vividly. And the Lord helped me to just head it by faith. We enter into aggressive church planting and evangelism that brought so many souls into the kingdom, and we have not gotten there at all. We are still moving on, and the whole chemistry of Central Baptist Church is changed, because by the grace of God, that church has become a soul-winning church. I beg you, that is the most fulfilling aspect of my ministry. I give thanks to God for that.
As a pastor, the senior pastor of Central Baptist Church, has there been any moment, any time, you had wished, like Jesus did at the garden, if possible, let this cup pass over. If possible, what is it, sir? I just want to throw in the towel. Has there been any time like that?
Yeah, we are all human. And we have to be sincere with ourselves, right? There have been moments, maybe I can recount about 2-3 moments when you just feel that I don't think one should continue, all right? I've had 2 moments, in my life. Wow. I had a moment when there was falsehood perpetrated greatly against me. And it was coming at a point when there was going to be a promotion.
Oh boy.
And the force came from powers that be. There's some people, when they talk about you, nobody will hear your story any longer. It is the truth, whether it is false. I remember that time, and I almost thought that if it were possible, maybe I would have traveled out before even that experience. And let me go and read, let me go and do page, let me move way out of the ministry and take up my family. I can serve God in some other ways. But with time, that story turned to be something else. Then there was also another time when I saw what I don't like describing happening around me. When people see truth and they cover it up in the name of sentiment, right? Personal sentiment, tribal sentiment, but God helped me, because while all this was going on, I had some calls, I had some calls coming to move and this and that. But then a deaconess came to me. And the deaconess told me that she had a dream. Okay. And that the dream was very serious. That I was in a church conference and the issue was becoming rowdy. And I was not comfortable that people were not speaking the truth. And I took my Bible and I walked out of the church. And as I was walking out, that she had it, that I was going to leave the church to go elsewhere. So when that revelation came, before the experience, God calmed me down and I remained calm. So I thank God that we are still here working for Him.
In these moments,
Yes.
this is what I believe will be helpful to many pastors out there and ministers and church members. How did you overcome? You almost said it just now. If I want to look at it by revelations, people come. But how would you look back and say, this is how I overcame?
I think what is most important is the first thing is humble yourself. Humble yourself. When there are issues around you, humble yourself. Then don't fight for yourself. Because if you want to fight for right, you may end up confusing the whole thing. Just keep calm. Just relax. Let God fight for you. It may not come the way and the time that you want it. But if you are calm and you allow God to be, you will laugh at the end of the day. Then thirdly, be prayerful. Because when such a thing happens, I think God is calling your attention to more prayers. I remember when the first one that happened, somebody called my attention to something. He said, Pastor, I remember you used to tell us in those days that you wake up in the middle of the night and pray, that even the cry of children in the night is a trigger for you to pray. Now, Pastor, are you sure you have been doing that? And the man was right because I was full of that. So there was an opening, for Satan. So when you have an issue like that, God is calling you to be more prayerful. Eventually, you are on the winning side.
Reverend, we've been looking at you as the senior pastor of Central Baptist Church, and we know you have associate pastors. How has it been like in ministry working with associate pastors?
That's a very good one. Working with associate pastors in Baptist ministry is full of fun.
You are the first pastor I'll be hearing saying that.
It's full of fun and real excitement if you have the right persons to work with.
Okay.
If you have the right persons to work with. How do I mean? If you have people who understand their different ministries, they have cooperative attitudes, they have respect for the senior, and even the senior also gives them respect. It's not that they will not have some little confrontation here and there, but then they have, if there's a vision, a goal that they are all pursuing together. That's very important, because when there's no vision, no goal that the pastoral team is pursuing, everybody has his own vision to pursue. I think that to me is essential. If not, if you don't have it, you as a small pastor, you can say, this new year is going to be a year of breaking new grounds. And one would think that this year is going to be a year of breakthrough, So, but if there's a vision that is collectively accepted, then everybody's going to be cutting his own from there. And it's going to be fun also if the senior pastor is not domineering.
Okay.
Yeah, he must be the vision bearer of whatsoever comes. Even if the associate pastor is giving it, he gives it to him to be the vision bearer. But having been called the vision bearer, he throws it again to them. It becomes the vision of everybody. And everybody is running with it as the vision of the pastorate. That is what is always at stake in the multi-star ministry. In a situation where the senior pastor is there, and then all others are seen like one quack subordinates who are not professionals, who are not given opportunity to exhibit the charisma in them. There's going to be a clash. And not just clash. Clashes will continue to occur. It will affect the church. But where everybody is, to a large extent, humble, respectful, and have Christ in them, and allow the nature of Christ to dominate them, the church is bound to enjoy. Our ministry will be beautiful.
Okay. You actually preached on an ideal situation. But I'm actually asking you your peculiar situation.
I don't know why you're asking
I
this.
was in a church once,
Yes.
and the senior pastor of the church came up and said that any pastor that wants to visit church members should take permission from me first.
Yeah.
They are my flock. I am the senior pastor. You see, these are the realities we find on ground. How's yours been?
Well, we were 5 before.
Okay.
And now we are 4 full-time pastors.
Okay.
For me, and the kind of nature God has given to me, I don't expect everybody to be 100% good. And I also recognize individual differences. We have a different reactions to life, to people, to ministry, and all that. So I have embraced the principle of be yourself. I will not monitor it, but let Christ lead you. I've had some hard times in multi-star ministry. But one thing that I've told God when I entered into it, because the man I work with was like a father. Okay, and that is good because he was like a father, more educated than me, have children like me, more exposed than me. So there is nothing to compete with. And he was very understanding. So we had good relationship. All right. But when I work with those who think they are close to you, they know what you know. They're exposed as you are exposed, and it's exhibited. There's going to be bound to be clashes. But what I've asked God is this: I've told God that in this multi-star ministry, I want to bring an ideal state of multi-star ministry, and that means never will church members sit down to settle me and
your pastors.
I told God that it will never happen. And in the past, I had some critical situation that was almost getting to that. But then I prayed to God it will never be. Instead of being that, let the pastor have his way. And let the end prove who is wrong or who is right. And God is faithful.
We have been very serious since we started talking. Can we play a little bit?
Let's play.
What's your hobby?
Don't say it again. My hobby is football. Football. In fact,
I heard, I've not really watched you. I heard you always play at the seminary every time ministers' conference.
I still have my boot. I still play with all stars, at the stadium. Oh, sure. I play.
At the Ogbe Stadium.
Stadium, yes.
Wow.
Every Saturday I have my boot. Even the men, the MMU too in our church, they fear me because they know that even though there may not be stamina like it used to be, right?
Yes.
But the skill is still there. It's just a matter of I've seen 80-year-old men still playing ball and playing well. Because you know what? If I had not been a pastor, I would have been a footballer.
Whoa.
That is it. That's the thing. In fact, Professor Baje was one time chaplain of Asoro. He came around for Professor Masoge's burial. And of course, I hosted him. And he said, hope all your sons are playing ball. I said, they have no option. They must play ball because it is in me. And he said, Olu, do you know something? You know that if not for ministry, you have been a world-class footballer. I said, sir, I knew it. Because the only thing I grew up with was the church and the football field at the back. So, if I'm not in the church, I'm in the football field.
What's your best food?
Best food. Pounded yam. And egusi soup. And if there is a bush meat, I take it and I sleep off.
As we conclude, sir, what will the love of your life, how would your love of your life describe you? A romantic man?
My
very
wife.
Straightforward man?
My wife. It's not good to post here. But my wife appreciates the fact that I'm the best thing that's ever happened to her.
Wow.
And, she sent a text message to me about 4 Saturdays ago. And she said, "You are a good man. And you are somebody that every woman want to have as husband.
Whoa.
And that if I have to come back to life again,
my God,
I will marry you." So, I needed no panaya.
Wow.
Yes.
You have been on to us those while we've been talking. I've been talking with my friend, my pastor, and we've gone beyond that, my brother, and my father in the ministry, the man, Olu Aibinuomo. And we all know him as Reverend Dr. Timothy Aibinuomo, the senior pastor, Central Baptist Church, Benin City, of the Nigerian Baptist Convention. I hope you enjoyed that wonderful interview, and I hope something clicked in your life. And I hope from here, now henceforth, there will be a change and improvement, especially if you've not known your date of conversion. You can do it right now. Right now. You can come to the Lord, go on your knees, and say, "I want to give my life to you. I accept you as my Lord and personal Savior." Intentionally, purposefully, and your life will never remain the same again. Thank you for tuning in. God bless you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
I am Stevenson Isweke, everyone. I'm also a reverend, as he will say, Goshen Baptist Church, Benin City. See you some other time.